Preparing for your dissertation defense. Viva Voce, efficiently. Overview, dissertation defense and Viva Voce questions and examples.
This video will be useful if you are planning to defend your dissertation or thesis proposal. Let's start.
What is your study about and why did you choose to research this? Present your research aim, objectives, and questions concisely, gap come across, personal why you focus on this. Explain the what, aims, and the why, justification, of your research, be confident when answer.
How did your research questions evolve during the research process? What you propose to do may end up not what you intend to do. Clarify how your aim changes when you do your literature review. For instance, explain how your method shifted when you do the pilot test. Provide a narrative of how your research evolved throughout the journey. Your research focus, what, and methodology, how, may evolve. Provide a narrative of how your research evolved throughout the journey. Tips: keep track of your changes with a research journal or a lab book. How did you design your study and why did you take this approach? Classic question related to methodology chapter. What happened and what we found and why? What are you doing, why and how? Justified. Clear on what you will do and why. Survey design because time horizons. Contextual reason specific to your research. Explain how the existing research influenced your methodology choice. Link back to your research questions and aim of your study. Aim is answer by the methodology. Continue from previous slides. How did you design your study and why did you take this approach? Consider mentioned limit time, money, participants, and material. Constraint limit what you can do. You need to be able to justify every methodological choice you made, be strong on what and why. Review the theory for each design/methodology choice you have made. For example, quantitative, what statistic did you do and why? And qualitative, how do you developed your theme and why? What were the main shortcomings and limitations created by your research design? No research is perfect. Consider both the practical limitations and theoretical limitations. Taking quantitative data analysis give you data that is broad, what is their limits? How would you do in the future? How did your findings relate to the existing literature? Discussion session of your research. You can put your result in context correctly or not. Finding align/not align with your research? Explore why this may happened. Show next level of thinking, this finding is opposite from the literature, why that might be the cases. Discuss the potential reasons why your findings contrast against the literature. May be related your population that you sample, specific context or historical background in your environment. Continue from previous slides. How did your findings relate to the existing literature? Matching the literature, engaging how it is related, why supporting your literature. Knows what you are talking about. Make sure you are citing the latest research. Make sure you align with current research and up to date with your research. It's quite common for findings to contrast existing research. Embrace it. What were your key findings in relation to the research questions? Will you be able to answer questions and aims? Will you able to answer what you set up? Add in why factors, why might be the cases, how you may address this in the future research. Stay focused on the findings that directly address your research questions. Were there any findings that surprised you? Your literature says one thing, hypothesis set one thing and the finding is something else. Did you have any unexpected results? Why that might be the cases, but important to think about it and be prepared. Maybe have some unplanned or unexpected results. Discuss any interesting data points or observations that arose. Cover why and what, get some support from the literature and apply to your context. You can mention findings that weren't related to the research questions. What biases may exist in your research? Every study have problem, bias. Look at your research objectives, potential bias that may happened. Worth to keep in mind, such as specific demographics group, quantitative data analysis. Familiar yourself with the many biases that can impact research. Talk about how you will mitigate and how you overcome it. Need to engage those biases and not avoided it. Can Google and find the list of potential bias and understand them. How you should mitigate them. Prepare a list of all potential biases and your mitigation responses. Be ready for this. How can your findings be put into practice? Explain what your findings means. To look back, what is your initial justification for your research and refer to introduction of the research. What does this mean to the organization? How can they use your research to minimize the loss? How they can benefit from this research. Be realistic. Revisit your introduction chapter to align the practical contribution. Clearly distinguish between the practical and theoretical contributions. If you could redo your research, how would you alter your approach? Consider how you would reduce the limitations if you were to redo the redesign. Maybe should use qualitative method or different approach. Learned and grown from it.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if this is helpful to you.